Hi, ladies. It's been a while. I haven't done an update in a long time. I think it's been a couple months. But I figured I would do an update. A lot has happened. A lot of good stuff. I went on vacation and I had a great time. I was gone almost the whole month of December. I went home to Washington in January and really sorry. My phone alarm went off. Um, so that's something fun. While there, on Christmas Day, I discovered we were pregnant, and I am very shocked and excited. I did not expect it to only take 1 month of trying. Um, I hate it. I hate that it. I know how that feels when I would hear people be like, it only took 1 or 2 months of trying. And I'd be like, yeah, shut up. Don't want to hear your shit. Like, I don't want to hear that from you. Because before this, I just want to preface this. I spent 5 years trying for a child, and it took fertility treatments. It took years of going without cycles. And so I totally get that. And losing the 125 pounds and doing the bypass and getting healthy, I did notice that the last 6 months, 8 months out of the 10 or so months that it's been since surgery, I was like, oh, well, that's great that my cycle's on track, every 30 days. And it's been great, but I have to lose this weight, and we're doing everything in our power to protect it. And then the last beginning of April is 1 year post-op, so I didn't wait the full 1 year that the surgeons recommend. And the reason why I didn't was because essentially in October, November, I stopped losing weight. I reached the lowest that I wanted to lose. I even went below that. And there was a good, I'd say, 2 or 3 months where I wasn't losing anymore. And I didn't need to. I had reached a healthy weight. I had reached 140 back in September, I think. And I'm currently 9 weeks pregnant, and I'm 130. And it's really just due to my stomach not feeling the greatest and not wanting to eat as much. And losing 10 pounds since pregnancy is kind of typical, they say. In the first trimester, you don't want to eat. And I lost like 25 pounds with my daughter in the first 6 weeks alone because A, I was overweight, and B, I was sicker than a dog and couldn't even keep water down. So this pregnancy was scary at first because we had had 2 tubules before. And I had had my left tube removed. My right tube was saved and fixed. And so I was nervous. It had been a year and a half since we had gotten pregnant, and when we decided we were going to try in November. And November cycle didn't take, but December's did. And we were nervous that a tubal could happen on that right tube, and we weren't sure. And they even told us that our chances of pregnancy are going to be lower, too, with only 1 tube. It's possible still, but so I really didn't expect it to take as short of a time as it did, and I'm blessed, and believe me, I appreciate it because I've been through what I've been through. I found out that it wasn't a tubal fairly early on. 5 weeks they did an ultrasound and we found the sac. I went back a week later and we found the sac and the yolk sac inside. And then at 6 weeks we heard the heartbeat. And I've had one other ultrasound, and that was just a few days ago. And they did a 4D ultrasound and they checked everything. It was at maternal fetal medicine. and the baby doesn't match up with my last menstrual period. It matches up with a September 5th due date, not an August 28th due date, which is what I expected. And so I was a little nervous because my cycles are clockwork, and I know there's no way that I ovulated when my period was due. So they're like, well, they diagnosed me with, it starts with an A, and it's like A, B something, and it's like oblongial or whatever. I can't even pronounce it. And it's essentially my uterus is thicker than normal. And they believe that the reason why I'm actually measuring behind is because with how ultrasounds work, and they bounce off the uterine wall and they bounce off everything, that it actually makes it more difficult for them to truly get the size of my baby. And so I actually may be more like 11 weeks instead of 9. So they don't trust the ultrasound, and I'm glad they don't, because my concern was with my son and my daughter, they did the same thing. They changed my due date and made it further out, going, well, your baby doesn't measure up with your date. Sorry, lady. And then, unfortunately, when they were born too soon and we measured them, they measured correct with my dates. So when it comes to getting this cerclage that's going to happen, I'm like, I really don't want to wait to that 14-week cuff that they normally wait for, because essentially I'll be 16, even though the ultrasound shows I'm 14. And by then, I would have already lost our son. Like, I lost our son at that 15-week time. And he measured, 17. And my daughter, when she was born at 21, she measured 26 weeks in length and like 22 or 23 weeks in weight. So I was like, don't tell me I'm wrong. I mean, you can medically, because the ultrasound, you're going on the ultrasound, most doctors do. But I know my body, and I kind of have this pattern. So the great part about it is I'm actually having my ultrasound done exactly on the 12th week turning point. So right when I turn 12 weeks and 1 day, I'm having my ultrasound. Or my ultrasound, and then I'm having the cerclage surgery. So that makes me feel better. Because essentially that's the earliest they can do it anyway. And if something's going to happen before that, it's going to happen before that anyway. But the good thing is I've never had a first trimester miscarriage. They've always either been a tubal or they've been premature birth and that kind of thing. So I met with the cerclage guy before, like 2 years ago when we first moved here, because I wanted to meet him and see if I liked him and move on to somebody else if I didn't. And he's really good. He tends to be cocky because he's the best within like a 500-mile radius, and he's on a lot of renowned sites online when you go through Abbey Loopers and things like that. And doctors that tend to know a lot and tend to be really good at what they do, they tend to come off cocky. But the good thing is he takes a lot of time with you and tells you what's going on. He has never had a cerclage fail in his entire career. And I'm like, watch me be that person. I hope not, but watch. He's never had a cerclage fail due to anything he has done, or a woman's body rejecting it, or a woman's body not handling it well. The only time he said he's had issues are when he's never had major funneling happen on any of his women. It's normally, he's had losses occur, but they've either been stillbirths or, stuff out of his control. Or there was one issue that happened, a couple issues that happened that had nothing to do with a weak cervix, essentially. Like some growth stunting that occurred and things like that. So that makes me feel better, that it's not going to be my cervix that's going to be a problem. More than likely, it's going to be something else. Because there's this whole living in fear. Do I go to the grocery store? Do I go You know, do I go here? Do I go there? Knowing that my water could break at any time, and you know, those kinds of things. And that's a scary way to live in pregnancy. But I'm really proud of myself that this time I have not let fear run my life. I'm still working. I'm going to be ending that soon. They're finding somebody else, but um, I'm possibly going back to work after their cerclage for a few weeks until they, you know, fully merge someone else in to be with her. I'm a nanny, so um, I'm not living in fear. I'm going grocery shopping. I actually did make a huge, it's huge for me. I bought 2 pairs of maternity shorts because it's Arizona and all I have is, I love and rock those high-waisted jeans and high-waisted pants, and now being 126 pounds lighter, and almost, you know, hitting that 10-week period, I've noticed that you get a belly a lot faster when your body percent fat is like 20%, and you essentially are bone and muscle. And you know, the baby's only the size of a large grape, or it's going to be a fig next week, but that on your belly, when you have no belly, is, yeah. So the high-waisted pants weren't working anymore, and I finally just told myself, I'm like, you know, I wanted to hold out buying anything maternity or anything baby for a long time because I don't feel like it's prudent for me to do when I know that I lose children around 20 weeks. So I did buy them. I bought them because they were 50% off, and I spent $30 on both of them, which maternity clothes, I don't know what the hell. They are so expensive. I'm like, I go to Target and I'm thinking I'm going to get a good deal, and I'm like, $40 for a pair of maternity pants. I'm sorry, but I'm fashion forward, and I like, you know, buying clothes and spending money on stuff, but for me, I'm just like, I don't spend $40 regularly on pairs of jeans. I go to, you know, the back of the rack, and I go to clearance stuff, and I go to, you know, Walmart and Target and spend $20 on something. So, yeah, I'm cheap, but whatever. But that's just some clothes, you know. I did buy one jumpsuit. It's really beautiful for Valentine's Day dinner, and it's maternity friendly. It's not maternity, and I spent $50 on that, but you know, it's from a boutique and everything. So I don't normally do that. You don't want to know what I spend on face wash and makeup and hair products. I don't go cheap on stuff that I put on my body and my skin and gets leached into my body, because to me that's important. But shoot, I'll wear a $2 shirt. I don't care. And my baby will too. I'm not against it. So, I mean, and half the time when you look at babies, you're like, oh my gosh, that's so cute. You don't ask, how much did you spend? And it'll be like, it looks like I spent $50 for her outfit, but she's rocking $10 outfit. Whatever. I don't care. And so, yeah, that's, so I haven't bought anything for the baby, and I'm not buying anything for the baby. I go shopping online in the sense of, I'll go on Etsy or I'll go on Shops and I'll go, that's cute, that's cute, that's cute, and I favorite it, and so that allows me to kind of buy it when I feel ready and I want to. And the great thing is, I am not against using what my beautiful angel children brought to me for a future baby. I kind of feel like they would want me to do that. I know a lot of people have different, you know, they're like, that was for that baby and I can't. I think of them, and when I think of them in positive ways. I don't just sit in a corner and cry, angry about it or super sad anymore. So like, I have a infant car seat, I have an infant stroller, I have the pack and play. So that part is set. My boss is giving me a custom made, top of the line, still has the price tag on it, mahogany crib, 4-poster crib. And she's giving me that. So really, I'm just going to stock up on diapers after viability, and with what my parents and family and everybody's going to do, I am going to have an excess. So I'm not really buying much of anything other than diapers. I'm going to buy diapers Um, I feel good. I am scared that it will all be over one day. Um, that's just the sadness of being an incompetent cervix mother or a stillbirth mother, that, after 12 weeks is when most people relax and they enjoy their pregnancy. And that's really when it starts for me and it starts for them. And so the journey is far from over when it comes to emotions, but every day right now I'm living and enjoying and trying. My surgery for my cerclage will be on February 21st, and I hope to update everybody either like the day before or the day after to let you know how it went. My external exam showed that my cervix is a lot more difficult to get to than he likes. So it sounds like instead of doing the Schrödinger or the middle of the line, cerclage on the length of the cervix, I wanted to do kind of middle of the line, not low, not high, to kind of eliminate risks on both sides. It's not going to happen. He told me it's going to either be the transvaginal, it's TVCIC, which is the highest vaginal he can do, or he will do the abdominal. He said the reason why he would choose to do the abdominal while he's in there versus the highest vaginal is because he has a feeling he's going to have to bypass my bladder and move it out of the way to get as high up on the cervix as he wants to do. And he said if he has to do that, there is no point, if I want future children, to put the bladder at risk every single time he has to do a cerclage. And then even put the bladder at risk to take the cerclage out every time. That he's already going to have a urologist in the room with him doing the surgery because there's a chance he could nick my bladder and they have to repair it. So he only wants to do that risk one time. And so he asked my permission to do the permanent abdominal cerclage if that becomes a problem, and I gave it to him. There are so much more benefits to the fact that you can have an abdominal. I don't like the fact that I'll have to have C-sections the rest of my life, but you know what? When you've held 2 dead babies in your arms, you don't care if you'll have to have C-sections. You don't. And I was like, okay, I get to pick the birth date. My parents know when to buy plane tickets. It's not the end of the world. And I'm not one of those mothers that has to do all natural, that has to do that, or my life is over. I have a very negative opinion of that focus. I think it's great to do it, and I have a lot of respect for people that do it. But when you get in a mindset of that's the only way it can happen, I really think that you're screwed up in the head, personally. I think that it really doesn't matter if your baby is here safe. And so for me, that is how it will have to happen. If it's going to happen, it makes me no less of a mother than you that squeezed it out of your vagina. If I get to breastfeeding and I find out that something happens with my breasts or it doesn't happen, it makes me no less of a mother than you that is still breastfeeding your 2-year-old daughter. So that's just, we've gotten into this society, this is a whole nother video, but where we gauge, are you mom enough? You're more of a mother when you can do these things. Sorry, the sun's in my light. And it's just like, it's bullshit. It's absolute and utter bullshit. It's like, then we should start that with our men. Your man is more of a man because he makes 6 figures than my man who only makes, 5. Like, we wouldn't accept that crap from them. So, whatever. So that's that. Spiel on that. Since this pregnancy, the differences, I'll just go over for a few minutes, the differences between the last 2 pregnancies, the tubal pregnancies, even in this pregnancy, and being 125 pounds lighter, I can already tell that it's going better and that I'm doing better. I feel better. I couldn't keep water down. I was horrible. I was dealing with blood pressure medicine, metformin. I was dealing with all these things with my previous pregnancy. I'm not on one pill. I'm on liquid prenatals, liquid folic acid. I wake up in the morning and I can go to work. I haven't missed a day of work. I can eat what I want to eat. Some days are harder than others. Like I'm living on a rice cake and a cracker just because it just is the only thing that makes my stomach feel better. But at this point in time in pregnancy, I was hospitalized for dehydration and I didn't feel good. And I feel good. I really do. I feel awesome. And it's kind of scary. It's been not eventful. It's been, if I thought that this is what pregnancy would be like, I would tell you that you're full of crap. Because I'd be like, this is great. If this is what people are complaining and bitching about, then, oh, honey, you're a baby. Because anyone that suffered from HG syndrome or a slight mild case like I had, or these huge cases like my friends have had, that, you can bitch about that. If you've lost 20 pounds or 20 pounds in 6 weeks because you're that sick, yeah, you can complain. I feel completely and truly blessed. I am, like, it's almost surreal to me that, you know, every time they check the baby and the baby's big and bigger and the heart's going, and it's just like, I cannot believe that we conceived that on our own, and everything is just like, everything's flawless. It almost feels like, when is the dream gonna end? When is this rainbow cloud of great things happening is gonna end? And I kind of hope that all of the shit we have been through is going to be just piled up in this, and it's going to be like, you're not going to have anything. You're not going to have any problems. And if that is the case, you watch. I am going to pop them out. I am. If this goes well, it's like, finally, we can have the 2 or the 4 that we want. You know, I'm going to be doing it. Because if this is what I have to go through every time, and this is what normal is, I just feel like it's a blessing. And I've also thought that if I have a permanent cerclage and everything goes well, I've also thought about, well, I know I wouldn't be a prime candidate for surrogacy, but I could definitely do it for a family member or a dear friend who really, really needed it. Because I could do this and have a baby. Like, I could have a baby running around right now and be the sickness that I am. It's not debilitating, and it's great. So I would do that for somebody. They would just have to know that it's, you know, there are some risks, but, you know, with an abdominal cerclage, you know, the risks are already taken away. There's no surgery when I'm pregnant with their baby, and I get to do it via a C-section, so they get to be in the room, and I don't have to go through all of that crazy pain. And, you know, I thought about that. That would be something great to do for somebody, but, you know, I have to get through all of this first. But that's where my heart is to help other people, that I'm already thinking about it now. But that is my update blog. We're at 23 minutes. It's long. I always do long ones, but it's been months. And, oh, if you are reading this and you are on my public Facebook, either of them, forewarning, I will virtually murder you if you make this big whole, you know, wall post and, you know, all over my comments and all over everything that I'm pregnant, because nobody in my family and friends really know. My parents ended up finding out. Long story, I'm not going to go into that. So my parents know and my sisters know, but, like, my husband's parents don't know. My, you know, grandparents don't know. His grandparents don't know. His sisters don't know. Like, we are keeping it under wraps until viability, and that's what my husband decided he wanted. So, sorry, I'm not going to be posting about it publicly on Facebook and stuff like that. So, if you can do me a huge favor and just keep it on the DL, I'm making this video public so that you can only view it when you have a link. So essentially, I'll know. If you send that link to somebody that you shouldn't have and you spill the beans, that person's going to know who sent them the link. And we're going to roll together. So it's just, I'm just forewarning you. So, and that's only like 10 more weeks anyway, you know, 10, whatever, 12 weeks away. So just don't say anything. I hope you enjoyed this update. I will be doing an update in 3 weeks around cerclage time. So I will do one for you then.